What's going on, guys? Welcome to Joy's channel. Today I just finished a call with Games Workshop TO, like responsible there, because I'm on the TO like list basically, because I'm organizing a lot of tournament at my store. So I'm on that list of TOs. So we were about like 364 on the call. I know some YouTubers already, like bigger TOs, bigger YouTubers got the call yesterday night. For us, it was this morning. So I just finished that, and I just wanted to talk about it today, like what we learned. You guys will learn it too, but we have a little bit more like Q&As, and like we could ask questions regarding terrains and regarding like how it's going to work for the list building. We don't have anything like crazy or any new rules that are like spicy. And then they asked that we don't do this as a bullet point basically form, because like some people already put some videos out there with some point forms and everything. And I will respect Games Workshop request, because I want those calls to still happen. So I will just go on the top of my head what I've learned. And then to be honest, I'm super excited. At the reveal first, I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of change. I was a little bit scared, and I went to bed, and the day after I was back positive. I'm like, every edition there's some change, and then this one won't be different. But to be honest, for the mission right now and the terrain layout, I'm super excited about it. So they talked about five different force disposition that they called it. So the force disposition, how it's gonna work basically is, let's say you play, I will use all the EC as example, and it's all example, so I have no idea how it's gonna work. But for the detachment, the force disposition, let's say coterie will be tagged as the detachment unlock the force disposition, purge the foe. So that means you're gonna play your army with this in mind, with purge the foe in mind. And then you play against an opponent that is force disposition is taken all, for example. So when Purge the Foe plays against Taken All, you'll have a specific mission for each of you to do, a primary mission. And there's 3 different layout too. So there's a total of like 45 different missions that you can place, basically, depending on the layout you get. The terrain layout is really linked on what the balance of the game, basically. So they said multiple times within the call that the terrain layout is the balance of the game, basically. Of course, the units also is balanced and all that, but it's linked to the balance of the game. And this is really interesting. Like, for example, they said many times that let's say Votan is super strong on Purge the Foe on this specific layout. Well, instead of like nerfing the unit, they can look at nerfing a disposition on that detachment instead. Like, this is options opening for them for balance as well. So this is really interesting, that it's not always going to be like, oh, this unit is strong, so we're going to go up on plus 20 points on that unit. Let's say right now, as an example, Catans are super strong. Well, maybe Catans are strong on this force disposition, so we will change the force disposition for this detachment specific, for example. They're still going to have some points I can change too, but that's another tool in their toolbox to mitigate the balance of the game. And they also said that we're not going to have like specific tournament scenarios. So when the edition launch, this is what we're going to have right off the box, basically. So like even casual player can still play those missions, and then we can play those missions as competitive players. And then it's keep in mind that they tested a lot of those to be balanced, basically. So this is super exciting. How it's going to work is, like I said, there's a force disposition and the layouts. Layouts will have 16 footprints with different footprints from what we have right now. They even talk about some footprints that will be like long and like thin, basically kind of like a barricade or a wall, but you can still see through it if you're behind. So that's really good for staging. They said the staging will be way more predominant there. So you'll have lots of staging, a little bit more terrains there. And then we'll have to control a piece of terrain, basically specific footprint, depending on the layout we have. They did not explain how it's going to work for the layout, the 3 different layouts, like are we going to have to roll the dice to see what layout we're going to have or stuff like that. So that we'll see more in details when we have the full details. But it can happen that you'll play in a tournament the same mission twice, but the chances are kind of low because let's say round 1 I play Purge the Foe. My first disposition is Purge the Foe for the whole tournament, because when I build my army I have to pick a force disposition that will be for the whole tournament basically. So you have that, keep that in mind. So let's say I have Purge the Foe, and then round 1 I play against Taken All, an opponent that has Taken All, and then we have layout 1, for example, of that match, because that match gives us 3 different layouts. And then on the second round I still get a Taken All, same thing, but this time I get another layout. It will change the game basically. And then of course you're not playing also against the same army, so that will also change. So that's really exciting, like to see all the different stuff you could do. And then they already said that they want to try to match the fact that, let's say you're playing Eldar, then your force disposition, you want to play a game where you just like move around and score points, then you have the options to do it. And then if you play like Khorne Berserkers, World Eaters, then you have the options to also go and kill stuff. Then you pick Purge the Foe, for example. So that's really cool. You can play the army like you want to play it basically. And then they also said that every army will have access to all the force disposition. So if you want to play Emperor's Children and play it as like a Taken All army, you can still do it if you want. So you can like bring your Defilers and your Land Raider and then hold the objective. And then if you want to play Eldar and try to Taken All, you'll be able to do it as well. So you have lots of flexibility on what you want to do. And then in the detachment system, they already talked about it in the article. We didn't get much more. So basically, every detachment will have points, and then we have 3 points at the 2,000 points game, basically, format. So let's say for us, as an example, let's say the one that are not really popular, the hero one, where the chosen detachment will probably be 1 point. So we can match it with new detachment that will probably, I'm assuming they'll do some new detachment that will be a little bit more specified and a little bit more 1 points detachment. So we could use that one mix with the new detachment that we'll get, because there's 70 new detachment coming out. So let's say we have a detachment on Flawless Blade, for example. Like they didn't tell us anything about that on rules, so I just like I'm just inventing that. So let's say we have like a detachment on Flawless Blades that are 1 point detachment with like specific on Flawless Blades. Then we can match it with, let's say, Rapid Evisceration, that's 2 points. I don't know, like I don't know anything. I'm just speculating here. They didn't talk to us about rules for that. So let's say we mix it together, and then we'll have like the rules of Rapid Evisceration and that new detachment of Flawless Blades. We'll have the enhancement, we'll have the stratagem. So that will be really cool for list building. And then you'll have like, let's say 2 force disposition, then you have to pick one of the 2 that you would like to do for the tournament. And then you'll have, when you play against your opponent, then you'll have the specific layout. Every piece of layout will be the same for every tables. It's just that it's going to switch around depending on your matchup. So for TO like us, we just have to make sure that we have, let's say I have 16 players, I have to do 8 tables. I have to make sure I have 8 tables of this terrain with the specific, the same specific footprint. And then between rounds, players will do their matchup. Then you just switch around the terrain basically. So that's really great for TO. We don't have to worry about having like a billion different terrain and stuff. So everybody, like in my club, we all have our terrain printed already. So that's great. We just have to adjust our footprint, basically, get a couple walls here and there, like adjust our terrain a little bit too. But the L shapes are still predominant. He said that we can like use forest if we like and stuff like that, but I'm sure as TO we're all gonna have kind of like similar terrain kit, like with the L shape that we already have, like the runes that we already have. So that's not going to be too crazy for us to like reinvent all the terrain. It's more the footprint. Footprint's not a massive problem to readjust. Everybody will get their footprint. They also said, I was very surprised that we can print the footprint like for free. So everything will be free. We can print it. To be honest, most of us will get the Neoframe cool version. But if you're like worried about getting an expensive footprint kit, it won't be a problem. You'll be able to just go and then print it for free. So that's great. To be honest, I'm like super excited about that. And then if we, like you said, like if they see any unbalance when, like, because of course there'll be some stuff that they didn't think about. Every day the balance data slate will be kind of like the same schedule, and then they can adjust also the terrain and missions for specific detachment that they see as a problem. Now you're going to ask me what's going to happen with UKTC and WTC terrain. Well, they said that they won't force people to not play this type of format anymore, but the game will be balanced around terrain specifically for Games Workshop. And then they'll also only consider the events that are running Games Workshop terrain for balancing purposes. So I think they're wishing us to play all the same terrain format, and I'm hoping that most TO will go this way. And then they also cover a little bit team format as well, and they'll cover all the double format and all the format that you like. For teams, they said that it's really, they see it as really interesting, the fact that you can tailor your force disposition to attack some matchups that are strong. So for example, let's say that guard is super strong on like taking hold. You can see that like Eldar is very good and purge the foe against that specific matchup. Then you can tailor your list to be purge the foe against that guard, taking hold. And then they want the defender to still have the choice of their layout, basically. So that's very interesting stuff, and then opens up a lot of list building / combination for terrain for team format. So that's also very exciting. I'm hoping the team format will move on to the Games Workshop layout, to be honest. If the game's balanced around that and that we have 45 different possibilities, that's like amazing, and I don't see why we would go to like WTC or UKTC format. I'm really hoping that we're all moving the community to the Games Workshop format, and I think this is what also Games Workshop is hoping. He told us at least 3 or 4 times during the call that he's not going to force people. They can do what they want, but they're hoping that we're moving on to a single format of terrain, basically the Games Workshop format. So I'm really excited about that too. As a TO, it's a little bit less complicated than trying to run 3 different formats or practice on like WTC. Like right now I'm practicing on WTC for my GT because my GT decided to go WTC for this one. But then let's say in 2 months there go GW, then I have to practice on GW. Like it will be great to have all your practice on the same terrain format. And then we have a lot of variety there. And then they said that, of course, as long let's say in a year from the launch, we'll have some new format as well. So it's always going to evolve. And then we'll have new detachment with force disposition. So we'll always have like a great variety, and things will change. You're most likely wondering what's going to happen with secondaries. They told us that the secondaries will be the same. We'll still have a deck of cards with secondaries, so no like specific factions or anything like that. No soup as well. We can soup with other armies, so that's great for the balance. Secondaries will be the same, but we'll have a deck. They'll explain that in an article probably coming out today. That we're gonna have a deck with like you're gonna draw 2 cards, and then you can keep the cards at the end if you didn't score it. So let's say turn 1 I get assassination and I don't kill a character, I can decide to keep that card. Then next turn I draw 2 cards, and then during turn 2 I kill a character, then I'll score assassinate. They didn't tell us like the full details, so I don't know like how many points maximum we can score and stuff like that. So we'll know when they get the rules out. But that's also very interesting. So we still have to consider secondaries in our list building. So let's say you go all in, I want to kill stuff with Purge the Foe. Well, you still have to take into consideration that you still have to do recover asset, cleanse, stuff like that. So you can't only just think about killing. You'll have to also think about, okay, I need some units to score my points. For the terrain piece that we have to control, they're going to be specific on the layout. And then if we touch the footprint, then that brings our OC, basically. That's what they said. So let's say you have a footprint with a rune there, you just move on it, a Khorne Berserker OC2 on it, you just touch it, then you're good. If you're in it, it's also good. So that's how we're going to control objective, and that's why they think it's very important that we use the Games Workshop terrain. It's because all our objective will be terrain dependent, and it will be placed into consideration of the matchup, basically, with the disposition. So we have to make sure that if we go and move on to WTC stuff, then they didn't take that into consideration. So that's why I'm pretty sure that we're gonna be on Games Workshop terrain pretty quickly. Personally, I know my event I'll run will be Games Workshop for the first couple months for sure. If I see that the community for teams is still going with WTC for whatever reason, then I'll adjust. But me personally, the first couple tournament I'll run will be with GW Footprint for sure. They said we're going to get the footprint within a week or two maximum. So we can adjust right away, like start buying our footprints before the edition's coming out, or print our footprints. So that's great. We don't have to wait on the day of the launch to try to get some footprint. So that would be great there. I'm sure some people like website that are doing objective will switch to the footprints. We'll be able to buy that quickly, or if we have friends that can do the Neoframe. I know personally as a TO I have a bunch of Neoframe right now that I'll just make sure that I have some cuts to match the footprints, to have at least 8 or 10 tables ready. So that's going to be great. The mats are not changing, so mats will be the same dimension, so we don't have to buy new mats. So that's also great for us. So if we look now at EC, what's going to look like for EC, to be honest, like we don't have the full picture yet, so I don't know like what we're going to look like at for like force disposition and stuff like that. But what I know though is that our rules are not going to change. So we still have like our speed, we still have we don't have a lot of unit as EC, but with our speed, we'll be able to adjust no matter what's the matchup. And this is what I like about EC, is that we have so much flexibility with Trail Seeker, with the fact that we have the speed we have. We'll have to have the full rule set, but to be honest, like with fallback and shoot, advance and shoot, fallback charge, like we can adjust as much as we want depending on the matchup we get. So that's great for us. And then of course we'll have to build our list with what we want to do, but like with the flexibility we have, I anticipate that we're going to be really strong into that new matchup process basically. And then terrain, like we have a small footprint if we want, with like a rhino, with our noise marines jumping in the rhinos and stuff like that. And then our reserve, when we deploy, we're always a small footprint. So even if the table is like switching around between round, we're still pretty good at, like, we're not like a massive footprint. We also know the rules that like if we're not within 15, they can shoot us on turn 1. So there's a lot of rules there that I see right now that looks like we're going to be really strong. If we look at the fact that we can now disembark, there's more staging points, disembark from Rhino and charging, they said. We have more staging points, more terrain on the table. Our guns are already, except the filers now that we have, our guns are already at 18 inches with Noise Marines. So for us, we're not like a long range shooting, so we still want to go kind of close to shoot anyways. So like if we look at all the spoiled rules right now, like it's looking really good for us for the new edition. And then the fact that we're gonna have probably a new detachment as well. Hopefully we get something to help some of the units that we're not seeing a lot at the moment, like for example Flawless Blades. They're starting to come in some lists, but they're my favorite models of EC, and I'm not playing them as much as I would like, so hopefully we get something for them. We have the brand new Defiler that by the way I played yesterday for the first time and I tried it into our carnival, so I'll do a video on that soon. I was really impressed. I tried an idea from one of the YouTubers that commented in my previous video, and it's really exciting. So I'll talk about that in probably tomorrow's video. So yes, I'm very excited about the new terrain and new ways of missions. I don't think, if I look at my notes, I don't think I forgot anything else. So for EC, I think we're going to be strong. Of course, it's hard without the full sets of rules to do some deep analysis. But with what I know right now, what we know right now, and the fact that EC is really flexible, I anticipate that we'll be super strong, and the new core rule set. So that's, but of course, as I'll still do a lot of video with all the rules that were gonna be revealed in the next couple weeks until the launch, and then when the launch come out, you'll see I'm extremely devoted to do a lot of game and then a lot of content. I'll have a lot of content on EC. That's it for today, guys. Just let me know if you have questions that in the comments. Maybe I'll be able to answer if I forgot to cover something regarding terrains and the missions, the list building. We didn't get like new crazy stuff. It's just like they were asking, answering your questions. So I don't have any spicy new stuff or anything like that. But at least I have a little bit information that I wanted to share with you guys. And then again, super excited. And then I can't wait to start playing the new edition. Thanks for watching.